Hello and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. We begin in northeast Nigeria, where suspected Boko Haram militants have targeted the state capitals of Borno and Yobe. Two explosions in quick succession strike a crowded main market in Maiduguri. It isn't clear yet how many people were wounded or killed. In Yobe, the gunmen attacked a police station and the city's university campus as residents fled for cover. They also fired on an Air Force jet that was circling their forces and dropping bombs. While the attacks are just the latest, on Friday, an attack at a mosque in northern Nigeria left dozens dead with several hundred other people wounded. Zlatica Hoke has our report.
Explosions followed by gunshots caused panic at the Grand Mosque in Kano as Friday prayers began and the building was crowded with worshippers. The mosque is associated with one of the country's most influential Muslim authorities, who recently called for Nigerians to take up arms against the militant group Boko Haram. Kano has been the target of past Boko Haram attacks, and its residents lived in fear even before the Friday attack.
We are not safe at all. We are not safe. This is why yesterday there's a burst of the one tire. All the people leave their goods and leave their properties, ran away.
Boko Haram is responsible for at least 1,500 deaths this year in northern Nigeria. The country's Red Cross Society says the violence has displaced 1 million people who desperately need emergency relief.
The International Federation of Red Cross has launched an appeal on behalf of the Nigerian Red Cross Society in terms of 480 million naira to respond to the people affected by the insurgency in the northeast Nigeria.
Many villagers from northeastern Nigeria have fled across the border to Cameroon. Others have found shelter in camps like this one outside the northeastern city of Yola.
Our home has been burned, our churches, many of our brothers has been killed. Everything, nothing left for us now again.
Boko Haram's campaign of death and destruction since 2009 has prevented economic development of northern Nigeria, turning it into one of the poorest regions on the continent. Neighboring Cameroon also has suffered. Several cross-border raids by Boko Haram have frightened tourists that once flocked to Cameroon's national parks.
They say the far north is in the danger zone, so we need ambassadors to help us, to make people come. Without foreigners, our economy will suffer.
Border closures have frozen trade between Nigeria and Cameroon, hurting Cameroon's merchants.
Since these events began, trade has stopped. The Nigerians don't come to buy food here anymore.
The militants are suspected in several other brutal attacks this November that have killed more than 100 people in northern Nigeria. Zlatica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
Well, for more on the security situation in northeast Nigeria, I'm joined by Leo Keyen, head of the Hausa service here at the Voice of America. Leo, first, getting this attacks today, having attacks in Nigeria today was kind of a little, disturbing because it's, as we saw in that story, we just had an attack on Friday. Yeah. What's happening in Nigeria right now?
Well, two things actually, Vincent. The first one is that people on the side of government are attributing these attacks to the statement made by the Emir of Kano, Sanusi, who said northern Nigerians should wake up and protect themselves. Now, that is not supposed to be a problem. The problem is that Boko Haram has been on territorial gains in the last 6 months. They've had 14 local governments now, 12 in Borno and about 2 more in Adamawa State. Now, if you look at the attacks, they are intensifying not just in the expanse of land, but the arms being used. For example, this is the first time that a bomb will be placed inside a mosque in Kano. That's number one. And the Friday Central Mosque is a sacred place to the Kano people.
And these are Muslims, so they purport to be Muslims attacking fellow Muslims.
Secondly, they are now using artillery, ground forces and all that, like we saw them overrun Damaturu today. But the military, I'm told, have been able to recapture the town and are in control now. So this is not just a matter of reacting to the Emir of Kano's call that people should protect themselves, but the fact that Boko Haram is gaining in sophistication and territorial integrity.
Now, just imagine, if this was happening in the outskirts of Abuja or Lagos, would the response be a bit different?
Well, the response would have been different because, you know, those in the presidency would have reacted immediately. Because you remember there was an attack just close to the presidency. It was crushed immediately. So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. This time, there was an attempt on Government House Yobe. It was repelled immediately. So this is just an indication of what's going to happen next.
Now, would you say that while Boko Haram has been attacking in the past, but this intensified attacks, these sustained attacks indicate that it's getting more brazen, perhaps even more equipped, and perhaps might be a bigger threat than it was?
That is why the NGOs in northern Nigeria are protesting today in front of Chad, because they believe that Chad is providing some kind of safe haven for some camps and sanctuaries where Boko Haram hit in Nigeria and move back and rearm. So that is the problem. They cannot be doing this from nowhere. They must be having sanctuaries outside the country and attacking at will.
Very quickly, is the government doing anything differently now than it did a few months ago?
I don't see anything happening differently because apart from waiting to be attacked and then they repel, nothing is being done to recapture those towns and cities held by Boko Haram right now. And in fact, the bomb blasts indicate that intelligence gathering is weaker now than ever before.
Well, so disheartening.
Very disheartening indeed, yeah.
Thank you very much
for
your insights, Leo. Yeah. Well, Leo Keyen is the head of VOA's Hausa service.